Got it. Oh, this is a bigger one. Well, good morning. It is Sunday, the Lord's Day. Just got out of First Baptist Church in Van Cleve. If you don't have a church home, I highly encourage you to, come and see. Today, actually backing up, I haven't had a ton of luck since moving to Mississippi a decade ago, finding crappie consistently. So we are back out in Parker's Lake in Van Cleve, Mississippi to see if we can get on some crappie. So we're going to see what we can get into and hopefully get on some fish. I'm just using a Mr. Crappie jig, as well as some crappie fireballs that actually have melted, but I'll be using the scent. Love to know where you guys are from, right? And get to know you guys a little bit better. Like I said, I was born and raised in Arkansas and moved around a bit to Tennessee, and now down here in Mississippi for the last 10 years. It really, Mississippi a lot of times gets a bad rap, right? And unrightfully so. This truly is an amazing place to live. To me, crappie fishing is a freshwater version of sheepshead fishing. They really love to be around structure. Starting to sprinkle a little bit. I think it's winter time. I don't really want to get soaking wet. I'm going to try to fish around these pilings up here until the rain stops. I've only caught 2 crappie out of here, but I just have a feeling that there's crappie in this lake. So I don't really want to give up on it. Just got to find out where they're at in the column. That's where the LiveScope comes into play. All right. Another small crappie. Another black crappie. He's probably 7 inches or so, 8 inches. I think in Mississippi they have to be 9 inches. Actually, he's 9 inches to keep. One of the good things about having a longer pole is, if you have a 10-foot pole and you stretch the line all the way, down to the very end, you know that you are kind of 10 feet into the water column. Usually fish, when they get sub 50-degree water, they're pretty lethargic, right? So not a ton of action. Got it. It's a bigger crappie. Once again, another black crappie. Right at almost 10. like they're kind of out here, maybe. I was talking to a buddy yesterday, Vince, DD214 Fishing. He's a great kayak angler, and he's having all kinds of issues with, his fish finders. And he's talking yesterday that, he's basically, what's the use? Like, I basically know where the fish are. Like, why do I need a, electronic device to tell me what I already know? And it's hard to argue with that, right? I would consider Vince to be borderline professional. I've been having some issues with my transducer that it only reads when you're moving, and I'm sure there's some setting in there. But it's, from a LiveScope perspective, like if you're fishing for kind of stationary fish, sheepshead and crappie, it's really great because you can kind of see where they're at. You don't have to waste a lot of time kind of trying new spots out. At the end of the day, you could find the fish, and as long as the fish are not biting, you're not going to catch a fish. All right. We're probably going to hit all 6 of these poles and kind of turn it in. Like I said, it's Sunday. Like to spend some time with the family, and my kids, like a lot of parents of older kids, they don't wake up until midday, which I never really was like that as a kid. I woke up at a decent hour, and we took off, right? And these kids nowadays, they stay up at all hours of the night, playing video games and Snapchatting and whatnot. Oh, this is a bigger one. It's a little different world. When I don't know, they're all about 9.5 inches, but when I was growing up, Nintendo just came on the scene. The Nintendo NES, and I was really hooked on that. So I get it, but hindsight, looking back, I wish I focused on different things. That was a larger crappie. Just couldn't. I think I got it. Broke his lip. actually a decent sized crappie. It's right at 10.5 inches. A little bit smaller one, but it's another black crappie. You know, back in Arkansas, there were typically white crappie that we caught. Got it. Crappie, similar to bass. They got much larger eyes though. Large mouth, just kind of, they call them paper lips. You can see how transparent their lips are. Another black crappie. He is 8 inches. You know, back home in Arkansas, my wife has uncles that are just eat up with crappie fishing. I got one uncle that he actually ties his own hair jigs and he looks for wild animals, you know, and foxes and squirrels. Dang it. And you know, stuff that is legal to harvest, and he'll actually take the tail fur and make hair jigs. So Jesse, if you make an extra one, let me know. All right, buddy. I'm gonna let you go. It's right at 10 inches. They say you never leave fish biting, right? And I told myself I was going to fish these 6 pilings and turn in, but an angler never says last cast, right? If you like a real clean meat, you know, crappie, honestly, it's hard to beat. That was a super soft bite. Super soft bite. Two years ago, kind of, you know, I had a revelation in my life. My mom, she was, and I love you, Mom, she's a subscriber. My mom was on her deathbed, and you know, my mom has sacrificed so much for us, me and my brother, to give us, you know, a chance at life. You know, we really struggled, like a lot of Americans, just to kind of make ends meet, and she worked her butt off, single mom, just to put food on the table. Anyway, I know I'm laboring out this story, but you know, she was on her deathbed. The doctors, multiple doctors, came in and said that, you know, there's nothing else we can do. Like, her heart was giving out, her organs were failing, and she was kind of suffocating with carbon dioxide because just her heart just wasn't working the way it should. And so you know, the doctors were stating that, you know, we need to make plans, right, for the next phase in her life, which is her death. And it really hit home, right? It was kind of one of those awakening moments where, you know, you just feel like, you know, there's something I can do. Please God, help. And you know, that lasted over the course of a couple of days, and you know, came to the realization that, you know, she was gone, right? She was going to leave this earth. And one of her friends, Mike, asked, right, that, you know, asked if he could pray for her. And I'll be completely honest with you, and I was in the wrong state of mind, but I was thinking to myself, you know, why, right? She's gone. She's there's no amount of prayers that's going to save her. Like, she is shutting down, like, it's a matter of days. And previous to that, I had the conversation with her, like, you know, do we want to keep fighting, or do you want to get comfortable, right? And my mom, she really didn't know what was going on, and but you could tell she was confused and scared, which kind of broke my heart, right? And so our friend Mike came in, very godly man, came in and asked to pray for her. And I left the room. Like, you know, I'm trying to figure out this next phase, right? Getting her funeral prepared, and small little brim, getting her funeral prepared, and just kind of reflecting on what the next phase of my life would look like without my mom. So he prayed for her, and I kid you not, you know, within 3 days, she was almost ready to come out of the hospital. You know, coming from a point where her heart was shutting down, her liver was shutting down, her kidneys were shutting down, to a point where she was ready to go back home, right? The doctors were amazed. Like, it's hard for me to believe that, you know, that God doesn't listen, right? God doesn't didn't use that point as a reflection in my life that I need to get right. Like, I need to kind of recommit myself instead of being a, you know, a lukewarm Christian, to recommitting, right? And so grateful for my wife. We First Baptist Van Cleve put forth a challenge last year, New Year's resolution to read the Bible in chronological order, right? And we followed the Bible 365 days. We never missed a day. And, you know, I'm almost 50 years old, and just being honest with you, I never really read the Bible. I knew just about every story in the Bible, but really never digested it the way that I should. But just seeing kind of the way God works, the way God can connect, you know, tragedies into something beautiful. You know, I see my kids getting closer to God, my nephew getting closer to God. Truly has been pretty amazing. Whole mess of them on the screen here. You know, Parker Lake, I think it's a kind of a drain or runoff of the Pascagoula River, and incredibly deep here, right? Tons of vegetation. You can see just massive live oak trees, or water oak trees, and cypress trees. Tons of vegetation around here for, you know, fish to, you know, create kind of their home. Just a beautiful lake. Not a great lake to run wide open in a boat. You will cause some damage, so I don't suggest that. But getting out here in a kayak, or, you know, rolling around in your trolling motor, slow speeds, I bet you could have a field day with any species you wanted, right? From bass to crappie, catfish, gar. Talk about Mother Nature just being amazing. That cypress tree right there is dead, and it's got a pine tree growing through it, the dead trunk. It's just, you know, just wild. It's actually starting to rain now. I am going to head in. I appreciate you guys coming along. Till next time, we'll catch you out on the water.